So again, so within our go-to-market strategy,
Yeah.
which now we created, is we looked at who are serving our ideal customer.
Okay. Would you say like finding a co-founder is like dating?
Yes, it actually is.
Okay.
Because again, you think this person is a suitable co-founder. The first person I even approached for being a co-founder came in and said, yes, we've been friends for this long, but based on the books that I've read, I think I bring in more than you do.
Okay.
Well, I will say coming in. So one, you don't have actually to have studied tech to actually become or rather launch a tech-based business. Right now, we are living in an age where there's a lot of curiosity. So I found myself in tech from a curious perspective. And so tech itself enables people who are non-tech to be tech in a way.
Oh.
We put a lot of spotlight on the businesses that have raised, but we also need to look at the businesses that have not raised or have raised very little money but are still growing. So that is also an aspect that we need to know, that you don't have to fundraise.
Welcome back to our episode. And from the previous episode, we learned that in order for you to come up with a business proposition, you have to identify the problem. Once you've identified the problem, you come up with a solution. And then that's the point you introduce technology to solve this problem. Today, we have a very interesting guest. His name is Danny. And Danny does a very interesting thing. His company is Mobility. They do what we call the Uber for people with disabilities. Karibu sana, Danny.
Asante sana.
Yes. Tell us who is Danny as a person.
So my full names are Daniel Gatura Kamau, aka Danny for Friday. Anyway, hi. Yes, so Danny is a son of a dad who is paraplegic. So that means he relies on a wheelchair from day to day. This was after an accident when I was around 5 years old. And so that then formed the base of ACE Mobility. Thank you.
Good. So what is ACE Mobility? And what does ACE mean?
So ACE means accessible. And so ACE is just the acronym of accessible, meaning the ease of getting somewhere. So ACE Mobility is a transport provider for people with reduced mobilities. So these are persons with disabilities, the elderly, the sick, school-going children, pregnant women, and ideally anyone else who needs support traveling from one point to the other.
Okay, very good. So how did you come up with this idea, and who did you found with?
So ACE Mobility for me is personal. It comes from a solution, or rather it comes from a problem that I saw back at home. And I love the way you've phrased it, whereby for someone to come up with a business, you first of all need to get the problem, the solution, and then add in a tech component to it. So for me, so after my dad got into an accident, and where now he became paraplegic and started relying on a wheelchair, he then found a very big problem commuting from home to work.
Okay.
And so I usually tell people that the problem was not the accident or making him paraplegic.
Yes.
The problem that we see is actually how he then lacked a transport solution to move from home to work. Because of the lack of a transport solution, the work ended.
Oh.
So I grew up seeing this particular challenge from home. So I grew up and then after campus got into the ride-hailing space due to lack of employment again. COVID came, COVID went, and so then got back to the ride-hailing space. But still the same problem I saw at home was the same problem I saw in the ride-hailing space. So by ride-hailing, I mean just being an Uber driver, Bolt, Little, all those.
Yeah.
And so also coming in from a supplier perspective. So I used to provide vehicles for this particular services. And so when I got to now become a driver, I then saw the same problem at home and now found it on these particular apps, where now people with reduced mobility were requesting vehicles, but then the drivers were turning them down.
Okay.
So because the driver doesn't know how to offer this service, so they don't know how to support people with disabilities. They don't know how to fold a wheelchair. They don't know, or they even don't want to. They feel like that's extra work.
Okay.
So, and from that particular problem came ACE Mobility.
Wow, thank you for that. So can you tell us in a nutshell, how does it work? So I have a person with disability, or I am a person with disability, I need to move around. Maybe I've ever called an Uber, and the moment they saw me with a wheelchair, they just turned and ran away.
Yes.
How does the solution work?
So Ace Mobility is an app-based solution. So we have our apps. We've actually just been approved for Play Store, that is Apple Play Store. And so our apps are now available on Google and Apple Store.
What's the name of the app?
Ace Mobility.
Okay.
So Ace Mobility is the name of the app. You are also able to reach us out through our website, which is also www.acemobility, that is acemobility.co.ke.
Okay.
And then you just key in your pickup and drop off points.
Okay.
And then you then choose a category of vehicles. Okay. So our solution comes in with, I would say, two major customization of the vehicles.
Yeah.
So the vehicles could be either vehicles with ramps.
Yeah.
So ideally these are aluminium, they're just aluminium ramps that we pull from the back of the vehicle, or there's also an electrical component that is able to remove the ramp from the vehicle, or the power lift.
Yeah.
And then now it lifts you into the vehicle, or we push you on your wheelchair.
Yeah.
So we need to get you on, when you're on your wheelchair, we push you into the vehicle.
Okay.
And then you get to travel when you're seated or at the comfort of your wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
So some have designated spaces for people with reduced mobilities.
No.
Some vehicles you have to fold seats,
Yeah.
whereas some have lifts. So the hydraulic lift is able to lift you up, place you on the vehicle, and so you travel when you're on that particular lift.
Okay.
And so we also have wrist trainers just for safety. We have safety belts and all that.
Yeah.
That's one component. The second component is a swivel seat.
Yeah.
So this is a special seat that is able to turn from the vehicle,
Okay.
come out and lower to the ground.
Okay.
So it's also able to lift you from the ground up into the vehicle. So don't have to struggle getting into the vehicle.
Okay.
So what we are actually solving for is being lifted into, or from a public transport perspective, being thrown into the vehicle. So that's what we are providing. So we are allowing people with disabilities to travel with independence and dignity. So we don't just serve wheelchair users. We serve blind people or people who are visually impaired. We have route description. So once we are on transit, we don't just go quiet. So we explain to them what is happening on the road. If there's traffic, we tell them there's traffic. If there's something happening, maybe you've joined the express, we just tell them, here we are.
Yeah.
You have this building on your left, this building on the right.
Yeah.
And so it makes them feel human as they're traveling. So they don't just feel like objects being transported. They get to feel human. And that's, that's also something else that we've brought into this particular service. For the deaf people, we provide sign language interpretation. We have an AI model that is able to pick that up and provide sign language interpretation. But also we have some drivers who understand sign language. So either the driver or the AI then is able just to offer that communication with this particular passenger.
Wow.
So again, this solution is built on a human aspect. So we have a number of things. We have the app, we have the vehicle, but more so we have a training. Okay, we train our drivers to now know how to offer this particular service. Okay. And our drivers actually are parents with children with disability. They are relatives or friends who have interacted with people with disability. And so that also again forms the responsibility.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for the intro. So guys, you've had, the problem was there. The dad got into an accident. And then the biggest issue the dad faced was moving around, especially going to work. At a point even that he was about to lose his job. He actually lost his job.
Yeah.
So this is an actual problem that people are facing. Many people are disabled, they are blind, they cannot be able to just use all their faculties. And then because of lack of a solution, so that is the problem, he came up with a solution, which is, how do I ease mobility for these people? And then for it to be scalable, he introduced technology. So that now, just like you would order an Uber app, if you have a parent who is disabled, you can just go and download Ace Mobility from Play Store or Google Play Store and App Store, right? And even go to the website and order the ride. He talked about drivers. So there's a big aspect of training drivers.
Yeah.
So from a business sense, you don't just introduce a tech solution and assume that the product will be perfect. So you have to train the drivers. And then from there, they also guide. They bring in the place of guiding the people who are the passengers. You guide the passengers, and then as you go on, so that they get to their destination safely. That's very good. Now let's go back to where you started. So you identified the problem, and then now you want to start. How do you start?
So, well, the biggest problem again was looking at even public transport, even as at today, it's not in any way adapted to meet the needs of these particular people. And so we went into a very long process of research and development, just trying to understand one, which vehicles are suitable for this particular people, where would we get them, how do we get them.
Yeah.
And so what I actually did is I sold off a vehicle I had, then just to get the first unit.
Yes.
So that then now brought the business case.
Okay. So when you're saying research and development, what is involved in this phase?
So it was all about just going online and just going through, what solutions are there outside of Kenya.
Yes.
Then you come and find that these solutions are there abroad.
Yes.
They're not there in Africa.
Yes.
So you start then by asking yourselves, where then do you source a vehicle that is applicable in the African market, even though it's not in Africa?
Yeah.
So that's where now we landed onto our supplier.
Yes.
So that's now we then looked into the process of, okay, now I've acquired the vehicle. So even we got to a place of where do you even then get financing for this particular vehicle? How do you then, once it's in Kenya, and maybe once you have the vehicle, how do you then come up with a pricing model that is suitable for this particular client?
Yes.
So in a way that it's not expensive and it's not as expensive, but then also you're able to meet the daily running cost of the vehicle.
Okay.
Because you also need to fuel. It's not, we need to fuel, we need to train the driver, you need to pay them. And so there are a number of moving parts.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm saying we went into a long process of research and development, and even trying to come up with a pricing model. And it's still something we work on a daily basis.
Okay.
Because different market aspects then dictate price differently.
Okay. Who was your first customer? Now you have everything. The car is here. We're ready. You're afraid.
Yes.
Umeingia job.
Yeah.
Who was
actually,
the first
I think my first customer was someone who came into the country for a conference.
Okay.
And so the first marketing tool we used was, so we went and thought it might be difficult to get directly to the users.
Yes.
So what we did is we looked for NGOs that then work with persons with disabilities.
Yes.
And then as they are marketing their products, then we asked them, we now have this solution. So in case you have someone who wants to commute, then reach out to us and we will then offer this particular service. But actually, coming back to think of it, the first user was actually Kenyan. So I think the second user was someone who was coming in. So the first user is actually someone with a disability. And so what they needed was a way to pick up their child from school.
Wow. Okay, so that was disabled.
The father is disabled. The son is actually not disabled. Yes. So we even have a video of that particular, how that particular ride went. Yeah. So where we come in, the dad ordered for the ride. Yeah. So we were able to go pick up the dad, transport, move to him to the school. Yeah. And you're able even to see the son smiling.
Wow.
When now he sees that my dad actually came for me. Yeah. So, and wow. The moments like this and even stories like this keep us moving. This is what keeps me up at night, but these are the stories that then keep me motivated. Yes. To continue out from this particular.
Okay. Very good. Now, you do R&D. You call it research and development. You said you check online. So if you have an idea and you want to implement, you go online and check. Is this idea implemented somewhere else?
Is there maybe even someone else who's doing it here in the country? Before you even go
to another. So research.
Yes.
If you find them, benchmark with them.
Yes.
Right. After that, you found a good supplier.
Yes.
And then you engage the supplier and you are able to do the first investment.
Yeah.
And then now there's an aspect of learning as you go. You've said pricing, you learn as you go. What else do you learn as you go?
The product itself.
The product.
So the product has been changing on a day-to-day basis. Yes. Because again, with working with people with disabilities, everyone is unique in their own specialty.
Yes.
So you need to continue working with the product itself so that it then suits every individual that you serve.
Okay.
Because everyone is unique in their own way.
Yeah. Wow. Good. Now, how many people did you start with in terms of team?
I was the only person in the team for around 2 years.
Okay.
Then brought in my co-founder. Okay. Then from there, the team has been evolving.
Okay.
And I think in year 2, that's when I brought in the app developer.
Yes.
We did the first version of the Ace Mobility app.
Yeah.
Which you've still been building. And, again, even with apps themselves, you do not create an app and that's it.
Yes.
You keep on reiterating, you keep on adding features, removing features, fixing bugs. So it's also a continuous it's also a continuous process.
Yes. You have to keep building.
You have to keep building.
Good. Now let's go to the place where you have the product, you have the team, and now you want to scale.
Yeah.
What did you do to scale?
So again, within our go-to-market strategy, which now we created, is we looked at who are serving our ideal customers.
Yes.
So that is, again, then NGOs that work with persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
We're looking at hospitals that
Yeah.
serve patients going in for dialysis and therapies.
Yeah.
We are looking at hotels that have accessible rooms.
Yeah.
We are looking at companies that also employ persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
So what we did is we have now 2 versions of marketing, where we market directly to the users themselves.
Yeah.
But then version 2, we market to the company or the institution that serves a customer we're interested in.
Okay.
So we now create products that are suitable for this particular company to offer service to someone we're interested in. So ideally, it's like a convenience chain. So we're just bringing convenience for their user, and so they appreciate working with us because we are providing a solution for a customer we're interested in.
Wow.
So
So
that's
you
what
go-
ideally you call in a B2B2C.
So you go directly to the consumer,
Yeah.
and also you work with existing businesses, maybe a tour company, maybe a hotel, and then you just plug into the supply chain, and you're part of the people offering this.
Exactly.
Wow, that's good. Now, let's go back to the business. How did you identify your co-founder?
So again, he's been a friend for a long time, also faces the challenges that we are trying to address. And so he was a suitable partner for us in building this.
Okay.
And so that's how I got to identify my co-founder, and that's how we continue building the whole solution together.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this space of, I have an idea, right? As you said first, I've identified the problem. I've done my research, R&D, and I've now realized this is the solution. But I am alone. I need help from another person, maybe 1 or 2 people, even 3. So they call them co-founders.
Yeah.
Can you define a co-founder from your view?
Well, for me, a co-founder is a friend, first a friend, because that then distinguishes, or rather removes all these issues where we see co-founder conflicts.
Yes.
Because if you're coming in from a friend perspective,
Yeah.
that even if the business doesn't work out, you
Yeah.
still need to retain your friendship.
Yes.
But if you go out maybe looking at maybe just people who are looking, who employ co-founders, for example, then the what do you call it? The partnership then might not be there, because there's nothing else that connects you together apart from this particular business.
Okay.
And so for me, I would say a co-founder is a friend that holds your hand throughout the whole innovation process.
Okay.
More so in the bad times.
Okay.
Because being a founder, there is a lot of bad times that we actually don't speak about. But yes, there are good times.
Yeah.
But more so it's during these particular bad times. But also in the good times, you need someone who needs to keep you focused.
Yeah.
And to keep you aligned to the goals that you had actually set
Yeah.
when you're coming up with this particular business.
Okay. Would you say like finding a co-founder is like dating?
Yes, it actually is.
Okay.
Because again, you think this person is a suitable co-founder. The first person I even approached for being a co-founder came in and said, yes, we've been friends for this long, but based on the books that I've read, I think I bring in more than you do. So give me 60%. But then I asked them, I've been building the business for two years. I'm already within the first, I've done the website, I've done ideally version 1. I've started version 1 of the website. So what are you coming on board with? They said, no, I am knowledgeable, I am all that. So for me, that person I dropped. So it should be someone who, one, brings in also something into the business, but more so is someone who sees you as a friend and is not looking to take advantage of you.
Okay. Let's just on this place of the co-founder. So do you look for somebody who has your strengths? Do you look for somebody that, yes, they're your friends. Do you look for somebody who can complement you? Do you look for somebody who is like a buddy, or what is the key element?
Well, for us, or rather for me, what I went for is someone who complements what I do. So someone with a different set of skills. So I come in with, so I studied strategic management in campus. So ideally I come in with a business development aspect and also a lived perspective. And also I've worked within the transport space for a while. So that's what I bring to the market. Or on the other side, my co-founder brings in a disability approach, because for him, he's blind and he's a person with disability himself. So he brings in a different set of skills. He also comes in with a number of connections within this particular space. So I would say for me, a co-founder is someone who complements you and has skills in a number of places that you also don't have skills. But then also something interesting is, as a founder, you find yourself, I've overheard a conversation whereby someone said that the CEO is actually a chief errand officer.
Yeah.
Because ideally, you're now bringing in an aspect of doing almost everything,
Yeah.
but you then come in and find that you are not an expert in everything.
Yeah.
So you need someone who complements
Yeah.
your set of skills,
Yeah.
but who also is willing, and you now both should be willing to learn from each other.
Yeah.
And you should be willing to correct each other as you proceed.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for that. So I have a co-founder. Many, I'm sure many listeners or people who have watched anything to do with technology, they believe is, I want my child to study IT or become a technology person, and then they can go and make money, like Zuckerberg and such kind of people. So, and you've talked about a process. There's a person here in university, maybe watching this, and they are thinking, I want to go into tech. I've not done a tech degree, and I have this problem I have identified. And now that you've said about how I can identify a co-founder, tell me a bit about what process from A to B, product market fit, just how do I know this is the best solution? Yes, there's a problem, and how do I, just with limited resources, address this as we move?
Well, I will say coming in. So one, you don't have actually to have studied tech to actually become, or rather launch a tech-based business. And I have nothing against tech people, because even for us, we have an in-house developer who does maintenance and the whole AF mobility app.
Yeah.
And so for me, during COVID again, we were all at home, confined spaces. So that's when I even started building the first version of the AIDS mobility website. So I just talked to a friend who is knowledgeable about website building, and when he got a gig to build a website, I went sat next to him. So when he's clicking this, I click this. When he's clicking this, I click this. And so I just, due to that particular curiosity, that's how I built the first version of the AIDS mobility website with no knowledge at all based on tech. And then also then even the first version of the ACE mobility app, our in-house developer found me already working on different templates of the ACE mobility app. So, and all these actually online things that you actually just come in to learn that you have different features that help you build website. WordPress has template. We have different I would say applications that help you build web apps. You have Bubble.
Oh, Bubble. You can build the app.
You can build a now.
Which other on that line? So if I want to build a website, and I'm not a techie whatsoever, but I have interest. We'll talk about interest. Which is the best place to build the website from? Website.
Well, for me, I've used WordPress. We used WordPress for the website. For the app we used Bubble.
Bubble.
Yes, and right now on Bubble, and this is not a paid ad.
Yeah.
But you are now able to build on Bubble. They're able to give you templates, build on it, and send it directly to Play Store and Apple Store.
Wow.
Back then, you had to use another wrapper to now convert the no code that you, or rather to convert what you have to now make it absorbable on Play Store and App Store. But recently they've just launched a way to just
they have
directly
integrated them.
Exactly.
It's easy to just publish and publish it.
And it's no code. They give you a template, you edit what you need.
So you can say order now button, change the order now, place it here,
exactly,
and it's working.
It's not that easy, but it's doable.
It's doable.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Let's go back to interest. You've said that you don't need to have a tech background or tech education to build a tech solution, right? How do you get the interest to go into tech and you're non-tech? Yes, I have a problem. I sell burger somewhere, or I have this gig. Maybe I'm employed, I have a gig, but now I want to do a side hustle. I'm not techie, but I believe I would add technology to this problem. I'll be able to create a very good solution. So how do you get the interest to actually go into technology?
I will say the interest to go into tech is, I think for us, right now we are living in an age where there's a lot of curiosity. So I found myself in tech from a curious perspective. And so tech itself enables people who are non-tech to be tech in a way. So I think tech has created that particular, pipeline of making you, even if you're non-tech, to be kind of tech. So I will say what you just do is just look at what features are there available online. Some are free as you start, and maybe they have payment models as you go on. But try as many as you can, and you'll definitely get there. Right now you have a lot of tutorials. You have the YouTube group of schools, and
YouTube group of schools has a lot to offer. Yes.
Yeah, so you just go through the different options that are there. But even right now with AI, we are seeing most of these things are now being simplified. So again, also look at tech as not the solution. Tech is the enabler to an existing solution.
Okay.
So recently, again, I was reading somewhere and they are saying there are very many people who want to become AI farmers. So they're saying we are building an AI-based solution for farmers, but they're not willing to become the farmers themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where some companies are actually going down the drain, because you're not investing in knowing how to do it. All you're saying is that you're now learned, you're an expert, but you're not willing to do the dirty job, call it that. And so again, as you're building your business, first of all, understand how your business operates, and then now bring in the tech aspect. Because tech does not do the business.
Yes.
You do the business. The tech helps you scale and make, and maybe just makes this solution just makes it, maybe gives it maybe even access to market. But tech is not, in some cases, unless you're building a software platform. But in some cases, if there's something built on the end, I think you need to first of all understand how your business runs, then now know how to build the tech in it.
Okay, very good. Even software solutions, they come to solve a problem that already exists.
Exactly.
And the solution is not the software. The solution is
Yes.
either convenience or anything that is there.
Exactly.
Good. Now you have the business, you have a co-founder, you are growing. Where did you raise the capital? Or how did you raise capital?
I would say for us, we've just raised a small round, a small pre-seed round.
Okay.
So for us, we've been able to do it for the past 3 years with no fundraising, so bootstrapping. So the small revenues you get, just plug them back into the business.
Okay.
Again, we were a very lean team. So we've just been growing that. And so we just unlocked 75K from an accelerator.
Congratulations.
But then with a number of, ideally it's more of business development, where you need to achieve some thresholds, then you unlock the next fund.
Okay.
So for us, that's what we are using right now to scale as much as we can, so that at least we then prepare ourselves for the next fundraise. But even, but then more so is continue building the business to a point where the business is able to sustain itself. So within the tech space, we talk about a lot of fundraise, but then I like what Kamal from Little said recently on LinkedIn, where he came in and said, we put a lot of spotlight on the businesses that have raised, but we also need to look at the businesses that have not raised or have raised very little money but are still growing. So that is also an aspect that we need to know, that you don't have to fundraise. Looking at even how right now funding has dried up, doesn't mean that you need to shelve your solution. Just means that you need to put your product, put it to market, let users pay for that particular product, and then use that revenue to continue growing. Even though it's a slow and gradual growth, then just use that. And so that even when money now comes in, it comes in at higher valuations.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. You talk about an accelerator. What's an accelerator?
So an accelerator is ideally a number of, ideally it's like a class or a master class, where you get in and you get trained by specialists on different topics. So at times what they do is they bring in different experts on certain topics, and they take maybe even a class of 10, 20. They take you through a number of these things. For example, pitching, building your pitch deck, knowing how to phrase your problem solution, how do you do the business model, what is your market size, for example. So what they do is they just train you on these particular key aspects, and then at the end of it, some of them award you. Some might award you by giving you extra support. Some might award you financially, where you're told, well, since you've done this accelerator, here's your check. But then, but then they are not, within the African market, there are not as many accelerators that come in to invest in these particular solutions. So what you need to take home is those particular learning. How you do your pitch deck, how you analyze your markets, how you grow your solution. Because for us, one key accelerator we joined was able to give us direct access to the customers themselves. So they do what is called, I've forgotten the name of what that is called, but they give us direct access to the market. So they bring the users somewhere. You now first of all listen to the users. This is our problem in this particular question. And then now you, during the afternoon or later, you now show the
focus group.
Yes, they actually give, it's a focus group actually of, so for us they brought people with disabilities, parents, teachers, the people with disabilities themselves, they brought them somewhere, and then now we get to talk to them.
Yeah.
So we first of all asked them about their problem.
Yeah.
Then now we went ahead to showcase the solution we have.
Yeah.
And we used that particular aspect. I guess it was in 2021.
Yeah.
And we used that to build the
Yeah.
ACE mobility product
Wow.
as it is.
Okay. So coming from the problems the customers are.
Yes. Coming from now the problem they brought,
Yes.
we show them our solution.
Directly from the horse's mouth.
Yes, from the horse's mouth. We show them our solution and they're like, okay, we can work with this, but also tweak 1, 2,
Wow.
3, 4, 5,
Wow.
16.
Wow.
And then that's again.
They make the product
They make-
perfect.
Exactly.
Good. I want to apply for an accelerator. Where do I go?
Online.
Okay. Okay. Tell us where.
Yeah. So,
Dr. Google, tell us where we go to all these places.
So again, right now there are many accelerators
Yes.
within Kenya. Many people are coming up with the programs. Most of them are actually coming from ex-founders.
Okay.
So maybe look at who has innovated within your space.
Okay.
Which accelerators are they either starting or where are they mentoring?
Yeah.
Because even for me, the accelerators that I go into mentor,
Yeah.
I usually have them on my profile on my LinkedIn. So you're able to see
Yeah.
all that.
Okay. So you go to LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is your best place
LinkedIn
to
is
see,
the best.
and even Instagram.
Yeah.
Those LinkedIn for businesses. LinkedIn is your perfect.
Okay. So if I want to find an accelerator,
Yeah.
go to LinkedIn,
Yes.
follow other founders,
Follow other founders.
and follow people who have been ex-founders.
Yeah.
Okay. And they are building their own accelerator.
Yes.
Good. So if I applied for an accelerator,
Mhm.
do they need money? Do they asking for money? Is it a school I'm paying for fees, or how does it work?
Most in the country, you do not pay for them.
Yeah.
But however, accelerators are structured differently.
Yeah.
We are now even seeing a new shift of accelerators that are called corporate venture builders
Okay.
or corporate venture studios. What they do is, for the corporate venture studios, what they do is they get you. So they say, for example, we need innovators within the transport space.
Yeah.
So they then shortlist innovations in the transport space,
Yeah.
and they help you build it.
Oh.
So the good thing with working with a corporate builder or
Yeah.
a corporate venture builder is that they already have a market for your product.
Yeah.
However, the stake that they might take in your business
Yeah.
is
it's a
more
bit higher. Okay.
because they already have a market for your product.
Yeah.
Whereas the other accelerators,
Yeah.
most are free.
Yeah.
Most within Kenya are free.
Okay.
But then what you need to do,
Yeah.
so as you don't get over accelerated,
Yeah.
is you need to get accelerators that are within your target group.
Okay.
So for me as a disability founder, I have which is called Innovate Now,
Yeah.
which is an accelerator for disability focused innovations.
Okay.
So don't just add because if I did any other accelerator, which I did, right, I didn't get the same access I did by working with disability focused accelerator, this particular one. So get one that is focused or has an inclination to your market,
Okay.
because you get experts within your market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's go to advising. I'm a student. I'm thinking of, now that you've said that I don't need a tech background or a tech degree or a tech course to go into technology,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the problem I want to identify, right? And I'm thinking of how fast can I get rolling, and what do I need to do? Like, what are the steps that I need to make from maybe A to Z so that I can be able to achieve? So I'm just looking at a summary of I want to start. I don't even know where, but I really want to start. How do you advise me?
Again, we'll go back to the basics and where you actually started from. Problem, solution, tech.
Okay.
List your problem down.
Yeah.
Then each problem within itself, look at the solution you're able to build.
Yes.
And then look at what tech you need
Yeah.
to actually build that. So that's the particular steps.
Okay.
That's the framework you need. But then now also look at what support do you need
Yeah.
within each space.
Yes.
Within your problem space,
Yeah.
as you're listing down your problems, get support from users themselves.
Yes.
Just call them out on interviews, or even just attend networking sessions,
Okay.
and just get to list that also from a user's perspective.
Okay.
Then go the next to the solution stage.
Yeah.
What support do you need? Then approach people within that particular stage, even just for advice. Then they'll advise you on the solution. And then also the tech bit.
Yeah.
So I will say with each particular step, you need support in terms of advice by a different group of people.
Okay.
But some people, especially founders, have some knowledge within the problem, solution, and tech. But also, if you can get an expert in each, then that also gets you going.
Okay, good. So I'm a parent, I have a child, and maybe they are 6-7 years. I really want them to be into the tech space like you. Advise me. what course do they do, or how do I start now? I want to start today. Like, what solutions do I give?
Well, personally, I would be I wouldn't be a good person to advise on the course to take.
Yeah.
Not unless you tell us maybe what Elimutab has on
Yeah.
the tech side.
Yeah.
But then I would say just let your child be.
Okay.
Let give them the support they need.
Yeah.
For me, when I was building my website, the support I needed was just transport fare.
Oh.
At times to move from where I am to where the tech guy is,
Yes.
so that we just do it together.
Yeah.
At times it's okay, my tech guy friend has come home,
Yeah.
we just need lunch.
Okay.
But then as a parent, just put your child in front of the people that could offer support.
Okay. So expose them
to the same people that could, a number of people who could then offer support.
Okay.
Because that within that particular framework, they are now able to grow their minds and they are able to continue talking to people. Because again, the problems are with the people,
Yes.
the solutions are with the people,
Yeah.
the tech is with the people,
Yeah.
and the money
Yes.
is with the people.
One way to expose your child to technology is to attend or make them participate in hackathon. Here at Elimutab, we're having a hackathon in partnership with Strathmore University. This is for the ages of 6, so if your child is in grade 1 all the way to 17, up to Form 4. And this event will happen on the 1st and 2nd of August 2025. So you can register on our website, and it's simple. We just bring people with tech solutions, and then you're able to talk to them and hear the problems they were solving and how they've introduced tech to solve these problems. Number 2, if you want your child to learn technology, whether it's STEM, coding, robotics, AI, IoT, feel free to register them on Elimutab STEM Academy. This is a virtual academy where we train your child from home. So they don't need to have any tech background. You just need to sign up today. You get a free demo. After that, we'll train your child in any technology course that you want them to undertake. Finally, I am in employment, or I'm looking for a side hustle. And I've identified maybe a one side hustle, maybe selling clothes. I don't know how to introduce tech into this problem. Me, I know clothes, you go to Gekomba, you buy a bale, and then you take the clothes to the market on Saturdays or after work, and then you flip them over. I don't know how to introduce tech. Where do I start to?
Yes, so for me, I say at times we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to build from where you're starting. Let's say you're employed, you're not making as much. That's why you need a side hustle. Yeah. And so starting to think about building a tech solution again might be difficult, even though right now there are simpler solutions that you're able just to plug into and they give you websites and all that. But then also, are you able to utilize existing platforms to then succeed? I'm seeing people right now selling clothes on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. That is, you don't need to build a whole social media platform so that you sell clothes. It's as easy as just starting a page, maybe sponsoring it or just doing it quite oftenly, so that then you now even have users. I think TikTok is now growing that particular space. The people are just creating a page. Today I'm selling mattresses. The other guy is selling clothes. The other guy is selling food. So just try also use already existing platforms to then help you get to your goal. Then at the end of it, once you have already paying customers, you have your list of paying users, maybe some who have even subscribed, or people who told you, here's 20,000 for clothes. You get the best clothes, bring me every month, right? Now, once you get there, now you can build a specific website for that particular thing. But also right now, you have even WhatsApp groups where you're able to post your shoes, you're able to post all that you're selling. So maybe try use already existing platforms before you even start building on them or your own platforms. Because again, after you build, you need to maintain. It now has a cost issue, and that's where if you've learned tech, that right now that's your best approach. How are you able to maintain some of these servers? How are you able to maintain some of these platforms? So again, if you're able, if there is something that you could join, if there's a social media platform you could use, then use it. If not, but then create your own app. And then also use the social media platforms until you get to a place where you have paying customers who will pay for that particular website.
Wow, very good. On Party Plot, what do you tell this listener? Most of our listeners are parents who really want to empower their children. Most of them also are guys in campus or people in high school and going to campus. They really want to know, what course should I take? And then I am at work. I took geography or another course that I don't know how I'll introduce tech, right? Advise these three sets of give them the parting shot.
So if you're a parent, for example, again, just expose your child to people who could help them grow. I think my dad introduced me to a cousin who was doing printing. It was I was doing strategic management then, I guess second year holiday. So I go to my cousin who was doing printing. What that was supposed to teach me was not printing. Yes, I understand printing, but it was not printing.
Yeah.
It was how do you deal with people at different frameworks. And so it's the same guy I go to. I'm telling him, by the way, I have this transport problem.
Yeah.
This is what this is what my customer is saying. Then he's like, do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm like, okay. So you might not even need someone in your own industry to give you advice.
Yeah.
But then again, from a parent perspective, expose them to people who are already doing it.
Yeah.
Just let them learn. I think that's what I would say. That's what my dad did from when I was a young boy. He just used to expose me. I think he said, you are not going to study in Nairobi. You need to go and study outside Nairobi.
Yeah.
So that you learn to stay with people.
Okay.
So again, I went to Eldoret.
Oh.
I got to stay with a different group of people, a different cadre of people. That's why I did my university. So expose your child as much as you can, because you don't know who they might meet there.
Yeah.
My developer we met in campus.
Yeah.
So you don't know who they meet.
Yeah.
So just expose them outside and let them, let them share, let them network with people, allow them to go for networking opportunities.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't know who they spot. Whether local or international, you don't know who they spot.
Okay, good.
Or then fate has a way of aligning things together. So I think for me, fate takes its course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is the place of where are we going? Where will be Ace Mobility in the next 5-10 years?
That's a tricky one.
It's your vision.
Yeah, so Ace Mobility will be, again, maybe I know it will be the biggest inclusive transport provider in Africa and beyond, because the solution we're building is not a Kenyan solution. We're building an African solution.
Okay.
And so we are even now looking at how do we scale towards Rwanda, Ethiopia, South Africa. We've already started research and development for those markets.
Yeah.
So in a year or two, you might see us out there.
Wow.
We are looking at how do we influence, how do we then create or even help the government create policies around inclusive transport.
Yeah.
We are looking at, making this particular solution, grow.
Yeah.
One thing that we are key onto, for example, is, okay, yes, we have a transport solution for people with disability, but where are they going?
Yeah.
For what we are now doing is, are we able to get to even maybe connect with events where we now bring in persons with disabilities?
Wow.
Are we able to talk to churches?
The whole
we say
ecosystem.
the whole ecosystem, because what is missing within the disability space is socialization.
Yeah.
We are all social beings, but persons with disabilities have been excluded.
Yes.
And the only thing that makes them excluded,
from
our understanding, is transport.
Yeah.
So we are looking at ways in which now we could work with all these other people and get persons with disabilities there. So in that way, we are creating market for our product, but then also we are allowing these persons with disabilities to just go out there and, live in this particular world like you and I who are able. And again, just to put it out there, the World Health Organization also said that, and before you even get to World Health Organization, if you live long enough, you will then become a person with disability.
Sure. I have had my grandpas, my grandma, all of them, they've had one challenge or the other. Exactly. Because age catches up with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you get to live long enough, age catches up with you. And so at that point, you become a person with reduced mobility, at times a person with disability.
Wow.
So even when you're looking at this whole disability space, we look at it from a perspective where we know in the future, and God willing, we live that long, we will need these services that we are bringing right now.
Wow.
And so that's why inclusion is important.
Wow.
That's why in everything we do, we need to ask ourselves, for example, if you're building a house, when I'm 80 years, will I be able to go to that particular floor?
Third floor. The attic.
Exactly. So what then, how do you make it accessible for everyone? If you are an employer, if you don't absorb someone with disability, where will they particularly go? So we are looking at how then do we try to infuse inclusion in the whole within the countries,
Yeah.
within the whole ecosystem. So what you're doing is
Yeah.
you're providing transport for people with and without disabilities to go to school.
Okay.
Because if persons with disabilities are educated,
Yeah.
they're able to go to campuses,
Yeah.
they're able to become employers,
Yeah.
and they're able to become funders of our particular project.
Sure.
So that's what we are looking to unlock
Okay.
within, and that's why now we do this particular work. And so, yeah, within the future, Ace Mobility will be an inclusive transport provider in Africa and beyond. And so, yes, join us in the
Good. Very good. So Ace Mobility, the Uber for people with disabilities, has proven that disability is not inability. And they are here to build a whole ecosystem of enabling the disabled to access events, access jobs, access any other solution or any other place they need to go. So look out for Ace Mobility. Go and download the app from the Play Store. Go to the website, acemobility.co.ke. The parting shot for you. We ask a question, and what do you think we mean when we say that we are raising geniuses?
I think for me, a genius is just someone who's able to make lemon out of lemon, or rather, yeah, you're able to make lemonade out of a lemon. So ideally, you're able to pick a problem that was there and come up with a solution. And for me, that is a genius, because again, that solution is not there.
Okay.
So in that way, you're a genius.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. And thank you very much. Thank you for coming. So guys, you've heard it from the man himself, the guy with the Uber for people with disabilities. You do not have to have studied tech to be able to come up with a tech solution. What you need to do is to identify the problem, build the solution, and introduce tech to make it scalable. Number two, you've heard that you need to work and in an ecosystem and get a lot of feedback from the market, whether it's doing focus groups, whether it's speaking to your customers so that you can continue improving on your product. If you do not know where to start, you just go and research online, YouTube University, and other places. And then once you start, you can be able to go validating your idea. So the last advice is given to the parents is make sure you expose your learners. Do not let them just stay there in the house. You have connections, you have contacts that you never imagine how much they will impact your children. Please expose them. And just like you were sent to Eldoret and to the Anchor, you never know what will come out from that. So thank you guys for watching this episode. Look out for the next one. Let's raise geniuses one episode at a time. Asante.